Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go with the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us around the world. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for. Finally, it is showtime.
Here, man, we dedicate our life to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape. We have attitude, we rooting, and we go into that fight just to land on the line.
Dope Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carlson. We are live on a Tuesday night per usual. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the show. Overall, I just want to, send my appreciations out there for all the people that have listened to the show, just in general, of course, but especially during these last couple of months when there hasn't been any live boxing on. So it's been very topical. So I just want to send out a thanks for that, no doubt about it. And once again, I'm just here for a distraction during a trying time, especially for some people, no doubt about it. I still got a couple of weeks before I return to work, but we are the last few Mondays. We here in Minnesota, we've opened up minorly here and there, So the last 3 Mondays, we've done some stuff. I think in the 2 weeks in a row, we brought about 130,000 people back to work. And then this last week, we took the lockdown down, but we still can't, have large gatherings. You can have 10 below, that type of thing. But the bars and restaurants are not open. Besides, like, curbside, or you can go in and take a to-go order. But anyway, enough about me. But yeah, just like to thank, everybody out there. The boxing is what got this thing started. There's also football and basketball shows, so I like to send my appreciation out to everybody for that. Listen to those shows. So we got a couple of different topics. I just got a tweet saying you're going to get at Rick Glazier. What did he tweet? Did Glazier just tweet something? He blocked me the first day he was on Twitter because he couldn't handle the truth. No, well, yeah, that is true, but. So if somebody screenshot me it or something, maybe they're just saying it in general, which, you can't get Glazer every week. You gotta let him, you gotta let him be, you gotta let him live a little bit. But I got a couple of different topics to talk about on the show, but the main topic, and it won't be like last week how it took me a while. I realized how long it took me to get to the main topic. I apologize for that. I didn't mean to. I got a couple of texts saying, man, it took you a long time to get to that main topic. And the main topic was, what is the best division in boxing? I got a lot of good responses. And I'll actually go over the boxing fans on Twitter, their replies too. I forgot to do that during the show. But the main topic tonight is active boxers. So current boxers, which active boxers have already earned Hall of Fame status, okay? Which active boxers have already earned Hall of Fame status? If you want to call in, that's cool. Otherwise, you can text me it. I did put out something on Twitter, although when people have to list stuff for I should have maybe said just the number of fighters, When people have to list all the fighters, they get a little bit more like, I don't want to go through that. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao stands out. Canelo, Chocolatito. Many people think Donaire. But once you get past a handful of names, Canelo, Pacquiao, Chocolatito, Donaire, in my mind, Mares, if you look at his fight schedule, then it gets hairy. Then it gets like, well, I don't know. And I was thinking about this subject, like what's a talker? What's something I can, with a little detail and a little bit of in-depth breakdown. What can I what can I do like last week? It's fun to break down all the divisions, the top divisions. And if you haven't heard that show, go right back. It's just a couple shows back. In fact, it's still the featured show on Blog Talk right now. But I don't know. I just think it's that Terrence Crawford a Hall of Famer show a couple of weeks back. Maybe it was already a month. I don't remember. But that got me to thinking, all right, well, there was some debate on both sides about Crawford. Most people think he's in because he's the eye test, in the fact that, he did dominate a division and he's looked damn good doing it for the most part. So it got me thinking, though, how many Hall of Famers are there? I mean, for me, like a guy like Kovalev is a Hall of Famer. But we're going to get into the list. If I didn't name your favorite fighter right off the top, maybe I need something on tap. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We will talk a little. We'll update you on some boxing news. We mentioned June 9th. The return for Top Rank. There are a couple more dates that we'll talk about when it comes to that too. There is some more rumors about Wilder. As far as the number he was asking, but then he didn't, and all sorts of weird stuff. So there's a couple other topics we'll get into. There is a list of top 20 uncrowned champions in boxing history, the guys that didn't quite, get a shot, or some of them didn't get a shot, some of them just fell short against a great fighter. We'll talk about that. What's funny is on my DVR, I had the first Barrera, which one was it? Yeah, Barrera Morales, the first one on DVR. I think it was ESPN News 2 weeks back that showed it. Then it had Pacquiao Marquez 1 and Pacquiao Marquez 2. So I got all pumped up. I recorded a bunch of fights, right? And recently, because they're just on my DVR, I went back to go watch those first the first in the trilogies. Well, I suppose there's 4 fights when it comes to Pacquiao Marquez, but I was so pumped for Pacquiao Marquez and Morales Barrera, both those fights I hadn't seen in a while. So I go onto my DVR, I start playing it, and it's fucking video game basketball. It's video games. And it's like, and I'm not ripping video games. If you can watch other people play video games, cool. I'm not judging you. Hey, I've been watching old school college football and old school college basketball, old 80s and 90s NBA games. So I'm not, I already know the outcome. You know what I mean? So I'm not even ripping you, but it just threw me off because in the title it's saying these fights. So I go, I think Morales and Barrera was the first one. Go in there, fast forward a little bit, thinking, okay, maybe they're just going to cut it and they're trimming the edges on it. It's only going to be, 50 minutes. Okay. Go through it, nothing. It's all that. I'm like, what the fuck? I delete that. Go to the Pacquiao Marquez fight. It's crazy that fight went 4 fights. One of the best trilogy, with the quad illogy, we'll call it. One of the best matchups, best rivalries, if you think about it. And look how it started in the first round. Marquez was on the ground 3 separate times and got a super cheap shot that barely anybody talks about. And he gets up, wins most of the rounds after that. And it's just crazy that a fight that you had a guy down in the first round 3 times, there can be 4 more fights. It's just, or 3 more fights, I suppose, right? It's just crazy to me. That always blew me away, and maybe that's why I liked, both fighters so much, but especially Marquez. He was one of my favorites, if not the favorite guy from that last generation. But so I put on, Pacquiao Marquez. I'm like, all right, cool, we got this. It's still fucking EA Sports and shit, dude. I'm like, okay. So it says it right on the title. They actually, like a couple days before it, advertised those fights, and they just didn't show them. And these video games aren't going into overtime or something, but a 2-hour block goes by, that's supposed to be 2 separate fights, nothing. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Now, I think the one that they did have was Pacquiao Marquez 2. Thank goodness. So I could actually watch some boxing that night without going and search for it. I had it all ready. And you know when you have it in your mind, you're like, yeah, I'm going to watch that fight tonight. And finally, so I did get to watch that fight. I think the other one, what was the other one? Was it Zab Judah and Floyd? I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, so I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, how are you going to advertise it? And then it's 2 dudes playing basketball and video games and they're filming it. It was just weird to me. Not the fact that people watch that. I get it. I get how people go to the arena and see it on a huge screen. If that's what you like, cool. Like I said, I'm not judging at all. The industry's popping off. Don't get me wrong, you know. But it just was a big buzzkill, like literally. So yeah, I actually had that. I was gonna rescore both those fights just for the hell of it. And that's what made me think about it, because at the beginning of my notes here, I have that. And I'm like, what the F? I totally forgot about that. So, yeah, there's a couple of different items we'll get to. Like I said, Demetrius Andre talking about Golovkin that just makes you scratch your head. Not the first time you scratch your head when it comes to Demetrius Andre. I almost call him Demetrius Underwood. That's a Viking player. Well, he really wasn't a Viking player. They drafted him. He went to training camp and just bailed. Like, I don't even know if he was in camp, how long he was, but he just dipped. He took a taxi, which is like maybe 90 minutes out of the city where they used to do the training camp back then. And he just dipped. He's like, fuck it, I got to get out of here. And next thing you know, he's found in an alley, stabbed. He joined some religious cult. Anyway, Demetrius, man, I'm on some random shit tonight. I'm not on anything just yet. Oh, and then Canelo. Canelo's talking about fighting not once, but 2 times, folks, which would be good. So we're going to talk about a variety of stuff. Like I said, the lead topic is the current active fighters right now. They don't need to fight anymore, people. They don't nothing. They've already earned their stripes. Which active boxers have earned Hall of Fame status are right now? You got Pacquiao, you got Canelo, you got Chocolatito, and you got like a list of maybe 8 to 10, 11 guys that you could go, well, I can make that argument. And like I said, this has nothing to do with projecting. It has 0 to do with projecting. You can't say, well, it looks like Spence is going to, or it looks like this guy's going to. Sorry about that. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. Oh, that's not good. Especially the way I'm doing it tonight. I'm recording it live. So let's hope it doesn't happen, although that's happened a little bit. Anyway, if this is your first time listening to the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast, it streams live right here on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio, okay? It streams live and archives. It's basically the headquarters. However, if you don't want to listen to it in the browser on Blog Talk or download it like a lot of people do from Blog Talk, you can find it pretty much anywhere. The Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast available at Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Player FM, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, really all across the board. We're also part of the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network, which can be found all the way across the board, including Spotify. I forgot to mention you can use your Siri or Alexa through Spotify to find the platform. While you're at it, why don't you head on over to thegruelingtruth.com. That's thegruelingtruth.com. They got a great sponsor over there, betnow.eu, with the promo code TGT. That's thegruelingtruth.com. It's boxing, it's football, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's everything in between. And one more thing before we get into some of these topics. If you're thinking about cutting the cord, or you have and you're not quite happy, a lot of people archiving a lot of stuff or signing up for cable and whatnot just because they got a lot of time in their hands, I got something for you. I actually use it myself. I'm not just I'll stop. I was going to do biggie lines. I've done that biggie line too many times. I'm not just a player. I'm not just a client. I'm the player president. Anyway, I had to say it. AT&T TV Now. Okay, that's live streaming cable. I am a client as well. It's you have a 7-day free trial. There's no annual contract per usual these days. The plans start as low as $55 a month. They have the cloud DVR. You can stream it anywhere. Boxing fans, they do have Showtime for $11, which is a pretty good deal. It's called AT&T TV now. That's live streaming cable. However, if you're in a part of the country or a part of your state or you're by an airport, basically you just have real shaky internet. There is AT&T TV. Okay, that's just your normal cable package. It is a growing platform. It's not everywhere, but it is here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in New York, parts of Florida, parts of Texas, parts of California, all the way up to the Northwest, in Seattle, even other places like St. Louis in the Midwest. It is a growing platform, like I mentioned. It is out there available, though. It's AT&T TV. Just Google it. Put your area code in there. See if you got it. Otherwise, AT&T TV now. Like I said, live streaming cable. Okay, so there's a couple of items that we'll get to here just right off the bat. We talked about how June 9th was looking like it was going to be the comeback for boxing as far as Top Rank is concerned in the U.S. Because I have talked about Telemundo and some other sources around the world too, that it, starting to Taiwan, I believe, is starting to bring some boxing back as well. Speaking of boxing back, this isn't back yet, but debate in decisions. This is what a Top Rank classic, debated decisions. Sorry, I thought it said debate in decisions. Debated decisions. So that's going to be tomorrow on ESPN2. They have Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad. They have Oscar De La Hoya and Shane Mosley 2, which was debatable. Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez 3. I don't think that's that debatable. Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, which is one of the most debatable fights just because it was so popular too. And then Mayweather against Castillo, part 1, which is something that a lot of people talk about and like to argue about and whatnot too. So just a heads up there. But yeah, it sounds like Stevenson and Mariaga are the ones that are going to return. That fight was already, in March? Something like that. So, yeah. I don't mind that fight. I know some people are like, they didn't like it originally. Where Stevenson is in his career, I don't have a problem with that at all. I really don't. So it does sound like that is going to be the first U.S. show boxing-wise on a bigger network. I do know that there's going to be potentially actually a Facebook Live, but I think they're going to maybe try to do a pay-per-view too. I'm not totally sure. There's not an exact information about that, but there has been, some more dates that they talked about with Top Rank. It's Magdanello is one of them. Pedraza as well. These are June fights. Like I said, June 9th at the MGM property. Most likely the MGM Grand. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. It's not Mariaga. It's Riviera. Which, that's okay. I forgot. That actually changed. It's not Mariaga. It sounds like it's Riviera. Rafael Riviera, who actually has put up some good fights. So I don't mind that fight either. It's a good fight for where he's at. Stevens, it's not a title fight or anything like that. It's just a good fight. Magdanello and Pedraza are due to appear on 2 other June cards. This is according to BoxingScene.com. Magdanello is due to face Vincente in a 10-round contracted 128-pound fight June 11th. So that wouldn't be that far after, would it? So we're looking at, these are coming up right around the corner, dude, and I love it. I can't wait. June 9th is a Tuesday. June 11th would be a Thursday. And then June 18th, a week later on a Thursday, I think, would it be Pedraza? I think Pedraza would be fighting. He's going to fight Mikel Despierre at a 141-pound. It doesn't surprise me with some of these catchweights, actually, given the time and all that. So that's June 18th. And all those three would be on ESPN, not even ESPN2. June 16th and June 25th are top-ranked dates that they're planning on as well. So, like I said, it's really about now. Obviously, there's not going to be any kind of fans there or anything like that, but it's a start. It's a start, and so it is fun, to get involved in some of this stuff. Just get the shit back. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. And so yeah, I think that there's a good chance that all those fights are going to happen, all those dates. So starting June 9th, like Bob said, it's going to be twice a week, maybe even 3 times a week. But I'll be happy with twice a week. The UFC has already done one where they did it twice a week. So, and I think they have more planned. So this is just good news. This is just good news. As far as Deontay Wilder, back and forth and forth and back. Sounds like that back and forth, that Method Man song. Deontay Wilder with these rumors. First of all, he wasn't going to take any step aside money. Then all of a sudden there was, even Bob Arum saying this is a joke. Who's gonna put up that money? It costs a lot of money to have him and Pulev to step aside. You know what I mean? Especially when you do have a healthy guarantee already guaranteed to you, right? Already contracted. So it would take a hefty, step aside. And even if Saudi put up the money, they got to put up a lot of money just to cover the 2 main fighters. And when I say that, that's obviously Joshua and Fury. But then you got so much layers, and you're not going to be able to, have as successful as a crowd, if you're even going to be able to have a crowd in general. I'm not sure in Saudi Arabia, but who knows by the time that would actually fight. But you heard Bob Arum saying, no way, no how, and all this stuff. But then all of a sudden last week, you started hearing Tyson Fury saying, we got a huge announcement. We got a big announcement coming and all this stuff. And then you're thinking, well, maybe this can happen. Maybe the fact that they can, I don't know. I really don't know. It was a little confusing. It was kind of like, well, I just don't see it happening. And either did Bob. And so, if you got the fighter saying nah and Bob saying nah, well, those guys got to say yeah. You know what I mean? So I really thought, that's no big deal. Now it's back. Then all of a sudden I start hearing a little bit of rumors here and there. I think on the Boxing Boy, shout out to Ness. It was, in fact, you know what? That made me, when just saying Ness, I totally forgot about Patreon. Damn it. I just remembered that right now. Ness, if you're listening, I'm going to sign up, dude. Everybody else should too, by the way. But they were talking about, I believe, $10 million on the step-aside money. I think that's where they got the number from, or the rumor from. I believe I saw that on a tweet or something like that. But we heard about, well, he's standing his ground. He wants $10 million and a guaranteed shot at Fury or AJ, whoever wins. So that means they can't have a second fight, which is what it sounds like. That might be the deal. So I really don't know, man. I really don't know what to think. Then we hear, oh, there's no way it's not happening. Then you hear Tyson Fury the other day saying, I'm gonna shellackle him basically all around the ring. I'm not gonna give up any money. I wouldn't give him any money. I'm just gonna beat him again. And so I wouldn't anticipate step aside money. I also would probably just assume that he's not going to, that they're not gonna fight in the U.S. They're probably gonna need Saudi Arabia or something like that. He even says it right now on Boxing Scene. Third Fury Wilder fight probably will be held outside the U.S. in the U.K. because those are some of the countries that have the most deaths, the most cases, yada, yada, yada. Also density. Some of the, especially in the U.K., especially in London and other parts of the country, there's some density in there, And that's one of the reasons New York got it so bad, because of the density, population density. So they're thinking, well, we'll just have Saudi or some big money, folks just give us so much money it's worth it, Who knows? But then you have Fury coming out saying, like I mentioned, and kind of going that path real quick, he was kind of like, nah, dude, I'm ready to go. Like, and, we talked about, I think last week or the week before, how he actually has like, nah, dude, I'm mapping out my opponents. I'm not going anywhere. I'm only 31. None of these guys can basically hang with me. He's kind of got that out of his head that he's going to fight out his contract. He's like, screw it. But he says, I got a Wilder fight. I probably got 2 fights with Joshua more than likely because it's such a big fight. You got Dillian White. You got Jarrell Miller. You got Pulev. You got Andy Ruiz. You got Du Bois. You got Joe Joyce. You got Luis Ortiz. You got a bunch of dudes. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go through them. So I really like to hear that in general. And don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% counting out Wilder or AJ in those fights potentially. I'm just glad that this is kind of on his mind now, rather than, some of the other stuff he was saying, I'm just going to fight these couple fights left, and then I'm gone. So I do like that. You know what I mean? I like that his mentality's like, well, what the hell? I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Speaking of Saudi Arabia or Dubai or anything like that, this is according to Pacquiao Crawford, well, according to Bob Arum, about a potential Pacquiao Crawford, possibly in the Middle East. This is a little bit of a little for Bob here. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Something's up with it. I'm not sure what the hell's wrong with the audio. All right, so let me see if I can get it going again. I don't think I can. I'm not sure what's on. Huh. For some reason. All right, well, guess I don't have the audio. Huh. It's just not. Anyway, he was saying that he has basically someone in the Middle East, MTK founder, I'll just call him Daniel, basically taking, offers over there and negotiating and finding out, when we can pop this off. So that's a good sign. They got somebody else doing the business in Dubai. So, that would Eddie Hearn would be pretty pissed off probably if he had Pacquiao and Garcia and had a date and money and venue and all that, and then Crawford and Bob swooped it up. Who knows, though? I mean, this is Bob talking, so you never quite know 100%. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that audio. It's just something's about maybe I don't know. I was going to give the credit and everything like that. So, whatever. So those are pretty good things in my, estimation about some big fights. I do think, like Bob and many other people said, that the ones, the fights, the big matchups are either not going to happen or they're just not going to happen in the U.S. or UK. So whether it's Dubai or Saudi or whatever, you know what I mean? I haven't even really been paying attention to those numbers over there. So we'll see. And I mean like numbers like COVID deaths and stuff like that, not like, numbers. Not like cashola or nothing like that. Couple more things I'll get to, just kind of breeze through, and then I won't milk it. I didn't realize how much I milked it last week with getting to the topic. I apologize. There's 18 minutes left of the show. The number to dial is 646-381-4990. If you're listening live right now, cool. If you're listening in the browser, in right around 18 minutes, it's going to go right to the archive hour. So if you want to listen live to the show, 646-381-4990, that'll allow you to not have to wait for the archive, basically. Okay, so Demetrius Andrade, who has just made a bit, well, him and Mannix is like his manager. He should get like a percentage. He's got to get some points on Andrade's contract. But I mean, if he was a producer, he'd have all the points on Andre. Besides Eddie, of course, too. But, he's talked a bunch of stuff. The whole Charlo thing where he actually was offered a fight and a multi-fight contract with Showtime, but then, he signs with DAZN and then turns around and says he's afraid of the fight. So, and like I said all the while, I realize why he signed with DAZN too. It's not because he's ducking fighters. But my thing is, if you're going to go to a different, if you're going to go to a different platform and you were offered money at that time, career high money, that's on you as well. That's on you as well. Now, like I said from the start, I had my things to say about Charlo taking that money too. But here's just a head scratcher. So here it is, Keith Eidick, BoxingScene.com. Andre, it says, I looked like I'm not looking forward anymore, but I looked in the past tense. I looked forward to fighting Golovkin at one point, not anymore. I mean, so he doesn't want to fight the guys at his own, like Golovkin, who's got a pretty damn good name still? He said, well, he's got Canelo, Billy Joe, and Charlo, a guy that's on an opposite platform. Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders is going to be trying to get Canelo because he had him. He probably still has him, maybe. I don't know. But he's got this hit list that he put on the Lockdown Tapes, the Matchroom Boxing podcast, and Golovkin was missing from it, the list. And it just, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like, he'd say, I would say Triple G, but Triple G, he did his thing. He had his time. Yeah, he's a great name. Did I fight him at his prime? No. Can I beat him at his prime? Yeah. Will the people ever see it? No. Did Canelo fight him at his prime? Is Canelo going to fight him again? Maybe for the third time? But it's just like, I'm saying Triple G did his thing. He showed and gave boxing all he has, and is that something I'm looking forward to doing? I was at one point, but now it's not really worth excitement if it is maybe like a year or two earlier. So it's not as exciting. The guy that has no top level guys on his resume, who keeps screaming that he wants to fight everyone. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Golovkin's ready to sign the contract. But to sit there and say, nah, he's too old, dog. I would say Triple G, but he already did his thing. So he's a great name, but did I fight him in his prime? No, I could beat him in his prime. It just doesn't line up. And this is another head scratcher from Andre. It's like, let me preference it. I realize just saying it doesn't make it happen, but it's kind of like a guy who calls everybody out on Twitter, but then after a fight, post-fight interview, they say, well, whoever my promoter says I'm going to fight. Like I said, it's not guaranteeing that you'll get the fight, but fucking speak up when you got an audience. It's just so funny, dude. But then all the people on Twitter now that, since he signed with DAZN, now all of a sudden a lot of people like Andre, even though they shit on him for years. Now they like him. They did the same thing to Tevin Farmer and Devin Haney too. But now they're with Eddie, then it's cool. Which I like Eddie in a lot of ways, don't get me wrong. But it's just funny. So you don't have a problem? Like if Charlo said this, or if any PBC guy said this, or whatever, it's just such a double standard sometimes. It's like, whatever. I mean, this guy's saying stuff. Like, why wouldn't he want to fight Golovkin? I just don't understand it. Like I said, I'm not saying he ducked him, but it's just one of those things where you read and you go, all right, whatever. Like I mentioned earlier, Canelo 2020 outlook includes a fight in September and December. There was a little mini rumor about July. He's returning on July 4th, where they're trying to plan Ryan Garcia's return on DAZN, which I hope that's still happening. But I guess that was not true. So yeah, he's like Reynoso, as his trainer said, we realistically want 2 fights this year. We couldn't fight in May, so we're looking to fight in September and December. We're talking about potential opponents like Billy Joe Saunders because they already had one. There's also Caleb Plant. There's also the WBC world title holder at 168, who's Benavidez. There are several options. Golovkin could be in December. His people already said, we mentioned that last week or the week before, that now he does want to, since it's been so long since, I can't blame him. If you're going to fight Canelo, it's going to be a tough fight. So he wants to get in a fight, before that. So, he named, like I said, a variety of them. They're still talking about anywhere from 160 to 168 to 175. So it's just cool that he might actually be able to fight, twice this year. And that'd be dope. Now, obviously, the money can't be made in September at the gate, which is usually about $8 million, even if he's fighting competition. I'm not saying Billy Joe Saunders is a chump, but I'm saying he's not really known here. It's still a healthy gate that they won't get. So I don't totally know if that is actually going to happen, but I wouldn't be too, I don't know, I wouldn't be too, picky right now if I were DAZN. You got to get those subs back that you lost. Clearly you lost subs, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But it's nice. Canelo's the biggest name here in the States, and I'd love to see him fight twice, especially if it was Billy Joe and Golovkin. That'd be great. That'd be a good year. Very good year. I've been going kind of hard on Ryan. Well, not really hard on Ryan Garcia. Pause. But I'll just leave him alone right now. I was legitimately going at some of the stuff he was saying, like he's going to write a book, but he don't want to tell everybody his secrets, on boxing and stuff. But him and Mayweather kind of got into it. He actually said some funny stuff about Mayweather, like, well, you don't know who I am, but you know who I was when you're trying to sign me and stuff like that. So I'll leave that alone. They were talking about Rolly. I said I'll leave it alone, but I'm kind of talking about it. They said it was like Rolly and him sparred, and he left after the. I don't know. To me, it's just hearsay. I really don't know. What's that all about? Somebody just sent me something. Oh yeah, that what will fans see when boxing comes back? That Thomas Hauser. There was actually something in here, and I think that's what they highlighted here. There was something, I didn't mind the article. Hauser's in depth and it's good and stuff, but there's just certain stuff that's pretty funny. What did he say in this one? He said, what did he say? He said something about it's going to affect Top Rank more because they sell. Okay, the loss of live gate. So this is kind of like a boxing Twitter segment. The loss of live gate will hurt Top Rank more than its primary competitors in the United States because Top Rank has been more successful than its competitors in selling tickets. Come on, dog. They just, whatever, man. Come on, dude. Bob Arum said it himself. They can't sell the tickets that they want to. That's where they're going to move 10 of their freaking shows overseas someplace. People are just going to pay him to have a fight there. So, one of their biggest ticket sales, Ramirez, was going to China in February. So, that's just one of those things that just consistently happens in the media, and nobody really calls it out. I thought this was kind of cool. Eddie Hearns has this idea. He's got this plan to have 4 weeks of fights, and it's all broadcast in his backyard. Essex is the place where he lives. He's got this plan right in his backyard, which I think it's kind of cool. He said, Terry Harper and Natasha Jones in mid-July. Maybe Dillian White and Povetkin in first or second Saturday in August. I like that idea. Why not? I mean, obviously weather can be a hope, but yeah, he said the proposal would which is in advanced stages, we'll see four cards of 5 fights each spread across 28 days. So a summer boxing outing in a sense. That's kind of cool. I like that. See, that's a prime example of Eddie just kind of thinking outside the box. Now, obviously, he's got like a real deal royal mansion, so that helps his backyard. But hey, whatever. I think it's a good idea. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to cover one more thing, then we'll get to the main topic at hand. The main topic, if you're just tuning in, is who is, like, currently active boxers. Which active boxers have earned Hall of Fame status right now? Not projecting, not anything. And I'm getting a few texts on this. I appreciate that. Although they're all from numbers I don't know anymore. Maybe someone just transferred numbers to me. Maybe you just listen to the show here and there, and you just texted me, whatever it is. That's cool. No big deal. I mean, obviously Pacquiao, Canelo, like I mentioned, Chocolatito. It's an interesting debate, though. Before I get into that, though, I do want to follow up because I said I'd do this on the show last week, and I didn't. There were boxing fans on Twitter. I asked the best division in boxing. Was it 147, 118, 154, 135, or another division, right? And here's what a lot of folks are saying. My buddy Aaron threw on at CinMN, so at CINE, like cinema, CINE, NN. You should actually follow him. It's some film stuff locally here in Minnesota. He says 154. Gallos, I think that's how you say his last name. I like this guy a lot. 147. Good Night, 154. Marvelous Marcos, he said 140. Local Mexican said 115. Adam on Twitter said Aberwitz, I just said his first name, 147. Sasha B said heavyweight. Asian boxing, I think I mentioned this last week, 108. Chris Connor went along with that as well, which, I get that. I get that. A lot of people don't. They freak out, but I like that. I like that because the depth, you know what I mean? The depth of that works for me. The Patrick Junkie, he likes 154. Thomas Cornflank, he likes 154. There was just some argument about the Charlos. And that has something to do with 154. D.W. Spencer said welterweight. And 160, 168, 175. If you add Canelo to it, that helps a lot. I kept saying that too. Deuce Ranger Rollins, he said 154, then 147. Richardson said, is this that Minneapolis dude? Catch 140. He said 140, mate. Come on, like 140 just hands down. This is what I said. To be fair, it's a good debate. 140 is not far and away the best division compared to 147, 118, 154, 135. This guy was like, dog, there's no competition. It's 140. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Who's a pound for pound guy at 140? I rest my case. Fred said 135, then 147. A lot of people responding on this one. Like I said, it's just much easier. And then there was some debates going on. Another division of 160. Stephen Paul Sorry said 135, then 147. Joe said 160. Phil said def 147. Tommy Roosh didn't agree. I asked him what division. He said 175 or 140. I still think those two, 160, 154, 150, 15, all outshine 147. Fair, if that's what you think, that's cool. SW, Red or Dead 88, he had 147. Someone said cruiserweight, or actually they said 200 pounds. Yeah, Shepard. Broke Man Broke was best 147, most exciting, 135. Steve the Scientist said 130. The 1-2 said 147, heavyweight, then 154. MMA Fan Boy, LOL, said 78 pounds. Alonzo said 130, 135. Mark McCormick said 154. B. Jackson said 147, but there's a good argument for heavyweights, 135 and 168. Allen said 147, but, the current crop, but he also likes the heavyweights. Enrique said 115, and I like 118 as well, and then Thinks Boxing said 154. So I'd like to thank everybody who chimed in with that. That was a fair amount of chiming. Right? So, like I said, I appreciate that. And it's a good debate. I mean, sure, are there wrong answers or whatever? Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think there was a lot of, I think there was a lot of good back and forth. I really do. I think there was. So we got 90 seconds left of the live stream. Like I said, 646-381-4990. Is the number to dial if you want to listen to the rest of the show. Okay? All right. So, just going to get that out one more time. Okay. So, current boxers. Which active boxers have earned Hall of Fame status right this second? Right this moment. Not tomorrow, no, I'll stop. And, I think there's some that really stand out. I got a list here from Twitter. Inoue, Canelo, Fury, Triple G, Pac, Loma, Rigo, Donaire, Chocolatito, Estrada, Wilder, I don't know about that. Joshua, no. Crawford, Usyk, Porter, Spence, Thurman, Mikey, Danny. Now look at the other list. A few more. Okay, so he's got another list. Or tweeted above that. All right, so I did see a couple of people manage to get in. What's going on? I hope everybody's doing A-okay or as good as you can. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that lost their job. Some people are able to go back to their job. It's taking a little bit to get back. Yeah, it happens. You know what I mean? It happens. So, active Hall of Famers. Current fighters who it's not projecting. It's just straight up. If they retired today, they'd be first ballot in 5 years because that's how long it is. To get on the ballot, you got to be retired for 5 years. So obviously Pacquiao is the easy one. I mean, if you don't have him in your Hall of Fame, you might as well just shut that thing down. And I've actually seen a fair amount of Pacquiao slander lately on Twitter. A lot of it has to do with HGH and shit like that. And that's cool and shit, whatever. I mean, I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying this is what they're saying. But, it's you can't just point one guy out. You know what I mean? I mean, the tests used to be horrible. Not that they're just foolproof or like great now. It's a big step up, to test, during camp at least. But, there's stuff that can get in and out of your body in 72 hours still. So, I don't know. The thing is, you just can't. You just got to say, hey, I mean, kind of like Lance Armstrong in cycling, I mean, most people were cheating, so he did too. So he still beat them cheating. I don't know. I mean, most of them were cheating. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of people look back at the 80s and 90s and act like these guys didn't do anything. when the drug testing was way less and steroids was rampant in a bunch of sports, football, baseball to turn right away. Now, I guess power forward and center position dudes were just more put together, and there's just more talent in the NBA, so maybe some of those guys were too. And obviously we know HGH came a little bit later in its form that it's in the last, say, decade or even 15 years. But then, of course, you have the cream. You put the cream on your shoulder, and that helps you get away with the test and all that. We know how that goes. I don't know. You could. I mean, those guys were cheating too. Like they just were back in the 80s too. But anyway, back to the list. I'm all over the place. So you got to put in Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, he is an active fighter, and he's a Hall of Famer. When I mean active fighter, I don't mean Floyd. I don't mean Tyson is coming back maybe for an exhibition for charity. I don't mean those guys. I don't mean Oscar De La Hoya, who's already in the Hall of Fame. I don't mean any of those guys. I mean guys that have been active. They fought at least within the last year, and they're still fighting. So you got Pacquiao, hands down. You got Canelo, hands down. I don't care how you scored the Lara fight. I don't care, which I'd have been okay with a draw. I do not care how you scored either of the Golovkin fights, especially the first one though. It's just funny, and you can really tell the bias of people when they'll just give Golovkin both fights, no problem. First fight, sure. Okay, cool. But you can't sit there and give like 9 rounds or even 8 rounds. I mean, barely 7. But you can't give 9 or 8 rounds to Golovkin. 9 rounds in either fight, either guy. But I just think it's so funny how, well, he beat Canelo twice. Oh, he did? Okay. So when Canelo's on the move, it doesn't count. But when Golovkin's on the move a little bit, not even on the move, but on the outside jabbing more, that counts. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's effective, Okay, whatever. But Canelo's in. Canelo's in. Like I said, I don't care how you scored those fights. That's cool. I mean, is he the first superstar to get some tight fights and win them? No. I mean, Marquez could have you could have given at least one more fight in the 4-fight series with him and Pacquiao. Obviously, I mean you could have given Castillo the first fight with Mayweather. Now you look at the second fight, and I do believe Mayweather was hurt because I saw the second fight. He said it. I looked at it. Looked at the first fight. Look what he could do in the second fight. Yeah. I mean, how many times do you see him even talking about an injury to that extent or seeing it in the corner? But hey. He got the favorable judgment. It happens. You know what I mean? It happens. So, Canelo and Pacquiao, you got to put in right now. They have earned the Hall of Fame status as active fighters. I think the amount of weight classes in the talent that Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez, most people just call him Chocolatito, I think you got to put him in the Hall of Fame for sure. A lot of people didn't witness, even on boxing Twitter, all the quote-unquote hardcores. And like I said, I'm not a boxing historian when I say that. I'm not the most hardcore of the hardcore. I'm not the most expert of the boxing expert, But I did see the flyweight wars, and a lot of people didn't. They swear they love boxing, but they didn't see the flyweight wars. And there was about a few years, 2 or 3 years in a row, where you had about 6 to 8 guys that they didn't do a full round robin, but you could point to this guy, he fought those 2. That guy, he fought 3 guys out of this pack. Like, we called them flyweight wars. It was fun. And Chocolatito, well, it took a while for Chocolatito to start fighting, high-level guys. Once he did, it really, he really took off. So I think you have to. Nonito Donaire was another guy. Went through a variety of divisions. Looked the part, which is important too sometimes. And he also made guys that you thought were really going to challenge him. He knocked out old boy in the second round. He did some things there. He was a little inconsistent in his performances, how he looked in the fight through a bunch of wins. Now, once he got up to featherweight, that clearly wasn't his best weight down there. Same with Mares. Once you see 126, it wasn't as good. But I have Nonito Donaire in the Hall of Fame. I think he kind of checks all the marks. He lost to Rigo, but he did beat some pretty damn good fighters. Some people disagree with that one. Had it, when he was going up the pound for pound list, I wouldn't have said midway through his career that, he's in. He still had to do stuff. You know what I mean? But the performance against Fernando Montiel, he was 40 something and I don't know, was it 42-2 or some shit like that? He was up there, 42 and I think it was 42-2, maybe 45-2. That was a fight where you're looking like, all right, dude, this is gonna be something. And obviously, even him coming out, against Darchinyan. Darchinyan was undefeated. He was knocking dudes out. It was a legit fight, and it was a legit opponent at the time, and he knocked him out cold. I mean, he tore his ass up. Vic Darchinyan. I'm actually looking at it right now. 28-0. And he was a solid guy. Now, is Darchinyan a Hall of Famer? Probably not. Even what is it, Mathalan? I got to go back to that. That guy was lost. Raul Martinez was another guy who was okay. Decent win. Hernan Marquez was part of those flyweight wars. That was a good performance, knockout performance. But like I said, what he did to Montiel at the top level, that was pretty damn good. And he kept going and going, and Toshaki? That guy was a damn good fighter coming off of good fights. Knocked him out. Did lose to Rigo. I thought it was pretty clear. No doubt, I did think that. He did lose to Walters. And the last chunk of his career, Frampton and Magdanello, fighting a lot of unbeaten guys. Inoue, even at his age, I think you can really see, though, that 118 and 115 are much better for him. You know what I mean? If you really look at it, it's pretty impressive. You know what I mean? What he can do there and what he looks like. And that's one of those guys that had he just stayed right there, he would have kept dominating. But like many fighters, especially nowadays, they have to go up for more money and more, everything. Legacy, all that. You know what I mean? So I put Donaire in there. Kovalev, Sergey Kovalev. He's got some really solid wins. Pascal was pretty damn good when he fought him, right? B-Hop was past his prime, no doubt, but it's still a pretty damn good win considering what he was doing at the time. I think that's still a damn good win. And then, he's got a couple other good wins or whatever. I'm not trying to say he's got the deepest, but I mean, compared to Golovkin and Kovalev and who he fought, I thought he fought better fighters until they got to the top. But then even at the top, okay, 2 fights with Canelo. Okay, well, he has 2 fights with Andre Ward. And I did think I thought that knockdown was the separator in that first fight. Now, clearly we know what happened in the second fight, but if you already have a pretty solid resume in your eye test, he had one bad fight where he looked crappy in his career. He had more than just one, but as far as when he was developing, you know what I mean? And what the hell is that guy's name? I can't remember. He gave Ward a hell of a fight, too. He gives a bunch of people a hell of a fight. Why the hell can't I think of his name? Am I going to have to look under box rec? Why the hell can I? They actually took the fight off the internet, basically, as far as if you want to watch the full fight. What the hell is it? I can't think of it. Darnell Boone. God dang, I can't believe that. He had that split decision fight he had with Darnell Boone. This was in 2010. He developed a little bit more. He had a draw. Then he fought Darnell Boone again a couple years later, and that's when he took off. Started really terrorizing people. I remember Gabriel Capillo. It's funny. Nathan Cleverly was undefeated at the time. He tore him up. A lot of people were pumped at that fight. He tore him up. Like I said, Bernard, Pascal, twice. Chilemba's a good bet, but like I said, the Andre Ward thing to me stands out. And I did think I did think that it was a 6-6 fight. And so when you beat a Hall of Famer, which I think if you beat a Hall of Famer, or you probably should have won the thing, it was a draw, but yet, whatever, kind of like Golovkin and Canelo. I think that puts you in. If you've gone against the A level and you beat them, or you squared right with them, and you have the eye test, and you have some solid on your resume, that puts you in. You don't have to go through all these weight classes. You just got to prove it when it's time to prove it. So I got Kovalev in. I know some people will look at his last handful of fights. I got Kov in because, like I said, he wasn't nearly anywhere near the name that Golovkin was. And, so he had tougher fights. He really did. Now, Tyson Fury, in my mind, should probably be a Hall of Famer. He has some good wins, like Chisora. Obviously, he tried to fight David Haye a few times, right? Well, he did fight Chisora twice. Looked damn good in that. What was it, the first fight he looked good? No, the second one. I don't know. But, God, when you look at, Fury had that break, right? No doubt about it. We know that. And some of the fights he's come back besides Fury have been jokes. Schwartz turned out to be better than we thought, But when you beat a guy who hasn't lost for 10 years and he's a lineal guy, and you just clearly beat him, I mean, he separated himself that night, clearly. And then you turn around and you're actually a slight underdog going into the fight. And in the first fight, he outboxed Wilder. He did get knocked down 2 times, especially one time really majorly. But then he turns around and has that performance. Now, we're going to see the trilogy and see how it turns out. But, you face the guy who, what do you have, 10 defenses, 8 defenses, 9 defenses, knocking everybody out almost. And he took his best punch in the first fight, was able to get up, and then you knocked him out. You brutalized him. For me, Tyson Fury's in because he can't go. He's not going to go below 200, and there's no super heavyweight. And he would be a super heavyweight, if there was one. So I think just those 2 wins alone, a guy that hadn't lost in 10 years, and who was, by the way, a big frickin' dude with a, bomb-ass jab, and then a knockout artist who you took his best shot, and then knocked him out? How many people thought he was going to knock out Wilder, especially the way he did? I got him in the Hall of Fame based off those 2 things. I just do because, Wilder is up there as far as he's a top level. I'm not going to call him an A fighter, but he's a top level heavyweight. And I think by the time, Vlad was an A fighter. I mean, once he got his shit together, and maybe, it's kind of like when I talk about Crawford or some of these other guys, when I look at it, I wasn't, a handful of maybe 5 defenses in, once Vlad got off the floor and stopped brawling. Now, Sam Peter, like, there are some fights that he actually went on the floor, got up, and did better. But he was dominant for a while. David Haye, no problem. Although, David Haye took off his shoe to show the toe or whatever. But my point is, 3 or 4 fights or 6 fights into his title defenses, I wasn't like, oh, he's a Hall of Famer. And I wasn't overly doubting him, but I was just keeping in perspective what he had showed me in his early part of his career, what he's showing in the middle, and what he showed at the end, So I think, and that's why I think a guy like Crawford, I'll put him in. I just don't think he's there right now off of standards that I think should be for Hall of Fame, not the Gotti standard like we talked about a month ago or whatever. The whole Gotti standard, a lot of people get into the Hall of Fame. But the Gotti standard, people get mad saying, "Oh, the Gotti," but then they don't. But then they put in guys that shouldn't be in. So forget the Gotti standard. We all know Arturo Gotti shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame for what he did in the ring. I love him, R.I.P., but he just wasn't. He wasn't an A fighter, dude. Just wasn't. So I got Tyson Fury. Now, there are some ones that people are going to be a little up and down all around. Lomachenko, Golovkin, Bud Crawford, Juan Francisco Estrada is one that I think people don't realize what he's doing, and when he got to fight Chocolatito, how he performs. I'm saying these are borderline, and then Abner Mares as well. And I think Abner Mares and Estrada may be the ones I get the most. In fact, I'm already getting it. That might be the most, debate on that. And I get it. I do understand what you're saying there. But some of it is just schedule. Like when you go on a schedule, like Carl Froch, he beat Kessler. That was one of his biggest wins. Boutte was one of his biggest wins. When you add up Boutte's, not the eye test, but how he looked in the ring, I'm sorry, I just said the eye test and then how he looked in the ring. When you add up eye test to his resume, I don't know. But as far as Mares, his first title fight came against Yanni Perez, who was undefeated. His first title defense wasn't some kind of walkover. Or title opportunity, not defense, sorry. His first title shot was Yanez Perez, and that dude was undefeated, and I do think he beat him. Now, it was a draw, but I thought he beat him. Tight fight. Very tight fight, but I thought he beat him. And we're talking about Abner Mares here. Then he won a split decision with Vic Darchinyan. Another quality opponent. Vic was still, and this is coming on almost 10 years ago. This is over 9 years ago. God, time flies. He was still 35-2 and 1 at the time, so it wasn't like a chump. Then Agbeko. Now I understand the first Agbeko fight and how it was low blow central. If you want to talk about Andre Ward and Kovalev and all the 152 low blows, like some people say, or even 10, whatever. Abner Mares, he's one of my favorite fighters from the last generation. But the dude was a rough and tumble dude. At featherweight, he actually got a little less of that style. I remember that Ponce de Leon. That's one of his best performances, especially at featherweight. It is, I believe. But I understand that fight, the low blows and all that. But he did come right back to him. And I believe that was the unification fight, right? Because they also had that Bantam title where they had the top four, or not top four, but 4 guys go at it. So you go from Perez, Vic Darchinyan, back-to-back Agbeko. Then you fight a veteran, Eric Morale. Nothing too crazy. It's actually, he was just kind of checking in for a vacant super bantamweight title going up in weight. A very good fight for going up in weight, if you look at it that way. Then he fought Anselmo Moreno. And anybody knows him, he was a quality operator. 33-1-1 when he fought him. Then he went up another weight class and went against a solid dude, a veteran solid dude in Ponce de Leon. Very good fighter, and I shouldn't say like some excellent fighter, but solid, you know what I mean, pretty solid. And remember, once he got to 126, that's not his best weight. It really isn't. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but it really wasn't. But I think that's probably one of his best overall performances. Then he goes against Yanni Gonzalez, and literally the Leo Santa Cruz fight is next. They're both on the card. And he gets caught with a punch. It looked like a left hook to the body. It wasn't. It was to his head. And he just never recouped. He tried, he got up, but he just never recouped. So he bounced back, got a couple of wins, and then took on, Leo Santa Cruz, who was undefeated, who at 126, that was a good weight for Leo. Much better than I think than 130. And Leo was the guy that came up too, but obviously he had more weight on him. But he fought hard. It was like an 8-4 fight. It was a competitive fight. They say, I don't know. I think that Santa Cruz won the fight clearly. I don't think I don't think it was close to a draw, like a majority decision is what he got. I don't see that. But then he turned right around and fought Cuellar. And Cuellar's a solid dude. And he beat him. He was 28-1 at that time. That's also at feather, which it did seem like Cuellar was better at feather. And then he had, he took on Gutierrez, who's just a solid vet, nothing too crazy. He had a good record, 135-1 or whatever. But then he took on Santa Cruz again. So when you look at Santa Cruz, even to Yanni Gonzalez, he lost that one. Ponce de Leon, Moreno, and Becco twice, Victor Chinian, and Perez. That run right there, that's a damn good run. And he separated himself enough, so it's kind of like he got some really key wins against top-level guys, and he also fought a bunch of dudes on his resume. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I'm not going to say that, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. So I actually have Abner Mares in the Hall of Fame. I know that's going to get plenty of debate. I've already debated it on the show plenty of times. I get it. To me, I don't know, man. I think he's in. Now, Lomachenko. Now, I don't have Bud in. The Postol fight was awesome. It was 1-2 at the time, but now we've seen Postol against Taylor, who's a very solid fighter. We're going to find out just how damn good he is. But that was a competitive fight with Taylor. So to me, if Postol was that A fighter, he beats Taylor. Does that make sense? So your best win is Postol and Gamboa. And I don't look at Gamboa as an A fighter, especially at lightweight. You can make it on, at 126 and 130 is a different fighter. But I just don't got him in. Now, Loma has the eye test and some pretty solid names, right? So he's kind of got the combination of it. Obviously, his only loss is a damn good fighter who might be in the Hall of Fame. He cheated, but he might be in the Hall of Fame, Orlando Salido, right? He just came out the gate, Orlando Salido. What's your next fight? Gary Russell Jr., who's 24-0 at the time. Okay, that's pretty fucking good. That whole majority decision, I don't count that as a majority decision. Then they did kind of move him, moved him laterally. They kind of got some more rounds underneath him. Then he took on a good vet, moved up in weight, good vet in Roman Martinez. Really took apart Walters, who was undefeated at the time, looked like the best featherweight at the time, had tore Donaire up out of the frame in that one. That's a damn good fight. Kind of moved him laterally against Sosa and Mariaga, good fights, whatever. And then Rigo. Now, that's an A fighter. Now, we all know at 130, it's not a great weight for him. And the fact that he said now the last, I don't know, half a year or whatever, they're saying, no, he's going to go from 126 to 130, 135. He's all of those three weight classes, which I think is dope. And it lends itself to having more opponents. But, damn, you couldn't have gone down to 126 then for Rigo? But still, he dominated. Jorge Linares, another solid win. Actually hit the floor, but knocked him out. Pedraza, another solid win, knocked him out. Campbell, didn't knock him out. Good fighter, though. So is he a Hall of Fame? Man, he fought an A fighter and made him look ordinary, but I do think the weight had something to do with it. Nicholas Walter seemed like a top-level guy at that weight. Now, what has he done since then? That's a fair, assessment. Gary Russell Jr., and then to fight that tight with Salido? Fuck, that's a close one, dude. I think Loma will be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, man, that's close. Because I think he fought better guys than Crawford. So I got Loma in the Hall of Fame. Triple G. Didn't really fight many people. He tried, and I know the story. Felix Sturm tried to get that fight, didn't work. I get it. Didn't get it. No big freaking deal. It's not the end of the world. But he started working his way up more, got here, then he was chasing, for a moment, of course he was chasing Cotto, because Cotto had the lineal 160 that he got from a guy that looked done in Sergio Martinez, but he did get it, whatever. He was chasing him, wasn't able to get him. Then he fought Canelo. So some of these guys, like Kasim Uma was actually a decent fight there, as far as Uma gave him a good fight, and Uma's a pretty good fighter. Pro Ska was a good fighter, man. The fight though that could have been, man, you look at that, it's too bad because that was supposed to be a better fight, unfortunately. And sometimes that stuff just happens to fighters for a variety of reasons, But Dimitri Pirog, man, that would have been a hell of a fight. Once again, though, it's not like Pirog ducked him out. David Lemieux, pretty good. I mean, what's his best win, Lemieux? What's Lemieux's best win? I don't look at him as like an A-fighter. William Monroe, Martin Murray, those are good wins. Daniel Gill, good win. Curtis Stevenson, good win. Macklin, good win. I mean, he has good wins. They're just not any high level, but once he got up to it, Kell Brook, he looked damn good. Of course, he got hit a lot in that fight. And he actually, for a moment, got raised off the mat a little bit, I think from an uppercut. But, Kell Brook was coming up 2 weight classes. Jacobs, that was a good fight. That was a tight fight, though. I still think that there should be a rematch there. And then a split decision draw with Canelo. Now, here's the thing that I go back to in my rating system. When you had a chance to go against an elite Hall of Famer or a top-level guy at your weight class, what did you do? Well, we know he did damn good against him. And generally, most people think he won that first fight. Or if you had to pick, a draw, which I didn't hate. Everybody, I hated the 10-2 scorecard from Adelaide Bird, but, I think the way he performed in that fight, I would have shaded it to Golovkin. That's cool. I shaded it to Canelo for the second fight, though. So there you are. You got in there with the Hall of Famer, and you showed you belonged. And so you add up eye tests, right? You add up all these knockouts, all these title runs, right? It's like kind of like he was doing his Vlad Klitschko without getting knocked around a bunch early in his career. And then he showed up in a huge fight. Even that Derevyanchenko fight, I don't know. That was a close-ass fight. But for the 2 fights with Canelo and the way he fought against good veterans, solid vets, some of them. Even Jacobs, was a close fight. I thought he got hurt to the body in it. But I got him in the Hall of Fame based off how he fought against Canelo. When he fought the best, his resume's not that impressive, but when he got a chance, he freaking took advantage of it, obviously. But I understand maybe some people that if you had Canelo winning both fights, then I just don't know how you can have him winning clearly. I guess that's my thing. And I know I'm already going to hear them. Oh, you got Mars in, but you don't got. But you're thinking about Golovkin. Oh, you're in between on Loma. Oh, you're thinking about Crawford's not good enough, but you got Mars in there. Like I said, look at who Mars fought in a string of fights. And he has the quality wins. He's got the eye test. I mean, he kept going up in weight classes against top-level guys at the weight. I don't know, That's just my opinion. And like I said, I'm not saying Crawford can't make it. I think he will. But he just hasn't, in my opinion, yet. That's all. That's all it is. So, anyway, who else did I? Oh, yeah, Juan Francisco Estrada. Now, this is borderline. He took a loss early in his career to Juan Carlos Sanchez, which isn't some kind of great fighter per se, right? Of course not. But, it is what it is. Take a loss. Oh, well. But, first of all, when he fought Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez, I'm not saying, he got screwed. I'm not saying, that should have been a draw. That's not what I'm saying. But that was a competitive-ass fight. Anybody who thinks Chocolatito just easily beat him, nah. That's not how that went. Then he turns around and beats a solid Valora, right? Split decision, solid fight. Then he beat an undefeated Melindo. All three of these guys were in the flyweight wars or right around there. Super flyweight, right in that area. Giovanni Segura, who had like this second layer to his career, got a big win, knocked him out. Hernan Marquez, another guy who, when he actually fought him, probably was past his prime, knocked his ass out. Did go against, Rung Basai, Sear Cat, I think that's how you say his name. It was a mild draw, did I just say mild draw? Majority draw, I meant to say, but it was a majority decision. That was a close-ass fight. That was a close-ass fight. And then he turned around and beat him. So you got a handful of divisions. You got a Hall of Famer on your record with Gonzalez. Now, you didn't beat him, so that's fair. This one's borderline. This one's close. This one is close. Man. He showed he belonged against Gonzalez. I think he fought good enough to have a rematch. He actually kept, and I'm not saying Gonzalez ducked him, but Gonzalez did want a lot of money when they weren't throwing a lot of money at these guys. Because I remember he kept saying, I want $2 million. I want this. And I'm not saying he ducked him. That one's borderline. Now, Usyk. Usyk is another guy that some people just have him in the Hall of Fame. I don't. He did, completely, like he was the undisputed cruiser. And I think the guys he beat are pretty solid. Breedis is pretty solid. Gassiv is pretty solid. Globowski, pretty solid. Are those A-level fighters? Is Breedis an A-level fighter? I don't think so. Gassiv, he's pretty raw to be an A-level fighter. Dorticos, he didn't beat Dorticos, did he? I definitely don't think he's an A fighter. I don't think Usyk should be a Hall of Famer for beating those two dudes. I know that he was dominant at that division. I give him a ton of credit. He's in my top 5 pound for pound. But I think he's got to make some noise at heavyweight to be in the Hall of Fame. I know people are going to think that's sacrilegious. Now he's going to get a chance to fight a top-level guy. He's going to get a fight with AJ probably at some point. Is it fair for him to have to go up to – now here's the thing. He can go up there and show he belongs, and that might be enough for me to put him in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he's only got eye test at this point. I don't believe that, but I don't know. I don't have him in there personally. I just don't. I just don't have him in there for beating those guys. Those are solid guys, but I don't look at those guys as. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I gotta admit that's a tough one. You know what? Damn it. Okay. So something's up with the top 20 uncrowned. The thing is just frozen on the. Buddy Gibbs did a top 20 uncrowned champions in boxing history, but I just can't open the thing, or I can open it, but it's just frozen and it won't let me go down. So I'm gonna scratch that for next week. This got a lot of debate on Twitter now I think about it. CBSSports.com put out the greatest welterweight boxers of the past 50 years. And it says, where does Floyd and Manny rank? So they got Spence at 10. That's eye test. Obviously, the last, 50 years? At 147, who are the top 10 at welterweight? That's early for Spence. Daniel Curry, yes. Miguel Cotto, yeah, he put in some work there. Oscar De La Hoya, of course. Felix Trinidad, yes. Thomas the Hitman Hearns, of course. Pernell, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and of course, Sugar Ray Leonard. So really, it was just Spence that was the little argument and stuff like that. Is that what I'm getting out of that? Which I understand. I mean, he might be, but I don't know. I mean, Kell Brook, a lot of people did think Kell Brook was the number one welterweight at the time because of how he had, the eye test, and then he beat Porter, too. So, I just, like I said, I'm not saying he's a top 10 pound. Now, who's better at welterweight in that time frame? That's a good call. I mean, it's not like there's a long list of dudes that you can just put in their hands down and be like, what the hell? But, you know what I mean? I think it's a little short of that. I think that's a little short of that. So we got about 18 minutes left. 5:03. I'm going to go to you here in just a little bit. If you are down to, talk about some of the guys I named for current boxers that are Hall of Famers right now, or just in general. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. I'm going to do some boxing Twitter stuff now. By the way, it's kind of news in boxing Twitter, I suppose. Sources say, and this is Coppinger, so you know the sources, oh my God, they're all over the place. They're right there. They're money. They say that Danny Garcia and Spence are actually fighting. That actually is going to be the fight. There was this little rumor of a Mayweather fighter getting it, but it sounds like that's going to be a thing this fall. So it will be a year since he's been out of the ring. Kind of, it's an interesting matchup, even more, with that. So this is boxing Twitter. So what's the catch to overpaying Wilder? What exactly is the investment all about? What exactly is the PBC fight that would recoup their losses? Fury is a joint venture for two networks, which is not exactly a huge gain for either. As one greedy fighter always gets the lion's share. Well, they went 50-50 on those fights, so that didn't work. Same thing with Joshua. That would be a 50-50 fight. Maybe not anymore, but it would be at the time. Kownacki and Wilder can't be big Ruiz versus Wilder can't be that big in-house either. So what is it? What? Would in-house be bigger for him? I don't know. Boxing Twitter. Has Floyd ever fought without any advantages at welterweight? What? Has he ever fought? Well, first of all, when he got to welterweight, he was at a disadvantage in most of his fights. Most of his fights at 147, he was outweighed. He actually had to adjust to the weight. Okay, so Floyd advantage before the fight. Okay, so pick the gloves of the opponent. That happened once. You think Floyd was picking his gloves his whole career? Oscar picked his gloves. For what the hell? Pick your own ref. Okay, at welterweight, he wasn't the cash cow, for the first couple of fights at welterweight. So the whole pick your ref, what? Pick the ring size. Oh my God! It's a 20-20 fight. It's a 20-by-20 fight in the championship ring in Las Vegas in big fights. Period. It just is. What do you mean pick his ring size? How many ring size? Would he have like a 24-by-24 and put in the Vlad Klitschko foam that they had to tear out before the Fury fight? Because the Furies were smart and got on that foam and noticed I wouldn't be able to move much? Pick the ring size. Wow. Pick the weight at where his opponent is at. Hatton came up. Okay, but Hatton came up. Marquez came up. Okay, sure. Canelo, or Castillo. Oh, no. He said Hatton came up. Marquez came up. Canelo, that wasn't at a welterweight fight. Once it's over 147, it's not a welterweight fight. And don't forget, they're the ones. Go back and Google that shit. They're the ones who said they could make 150. We'll fight him at 150. That was a 152 catchweight. I love that. Pick the size of the ring. Like they were trying to get him in a 14-by-14 or some shit. Like, that's so stupid. Judges? Okay, cool. Yeah, De La Hoya, you think that was a crooked fight against So he had the judges against De La Hoya. It was a split decision, but he had the judges. Come on, De La Hoya had the judges. Pacquiao. You're going to bring up Pacquiao in a judges fight? At least bring up Castillo, which they did Maidana. Okay, but he gave him the rematch. So, and then the ref. I mean, so are you saying he got away with the Ortiz stuff? Even though it was legal. A lot of people don't realize that. Drug testing agency paid by Floyd. Floyd paid for his own. He didn't pay for everything. This list isn't even complete. Wow. There are so many advantages. At 147. The ring size, that shit cracks. Ring size. Yeah, Floyd was out there. Nah, dog. We got to fight at a 28-by-28. At least rip people like on some good shit. Like, come on. Oh God, that's funny. What else we got here? Oh, someone said Danny Garcia has had and will have a better career than Crawford. Now, I think he's had a better career based off resume and his fight. Well, whatever. But to say he's going to have a better career than Crawford, I don't believe that. Twitter. Oh, if Parag hadn't, I just mentioned this actually. This one just got sent to me. If Parag hadn't broken his back, nobody would be talking about Triple G. I don't know. We'd have to see that fight. I think that is an interesting style for him, though. I'll tell you that for sure. Wilder's not even a very good win for Fury. You're as good as your best win. The best win for Wilder was Ortiz, and Ortiz is crap. So Wilder's not a very good win for him at all. When Fury closes this Wilder chapter, he should fight Joshua to prove how good he is. Chisora had 9 losses, but Ortiz would have had 9 losses if they went against each other. He tried to fight fucking Hay, dude. This guy says, oh, he didn't fight Hay. Dude, he had the fight signed. Hay kept pulling out from injury. Don't blame that on Tyson Fury. of these guys just don't pay attention. They just don't know. They're too busy, hating. By the way, speaking of ticket sales, only 12% of the UFC revenue comes from ticket sales, which tells you a damn good job with the other stuff. I'll tell you that. This is about Crawford. Yeah, bro, he totally ducked the lightweight. Oh, this is Amir Khan and no, not about Crawford. Amir Khan and talking about Mayweather. Yeah, bro, totally ducked the lightweight version of Amir Khan in order to fight a more dangerous. Oh, this is actually, I'm sorry. What the hell is this? This is so vague. Someone sent me this. Oh, Garcia and he ducked Linares. That's what it was. Mikey Garcia ducked Linares. Yeah, bro, totally ducked the lightweight version of Amir Khan in order to fight somebody else and really a more dangerous guy. But a lot of that was Golden Boy wanted to sign the deal for him. That's what the big thing was. Yeah, Mikey Garcia ducked Linares, the overhyped fighter. So he fought Lipinets at 140 instead of Linares. It was actually when Golden Boy wanted to set the fight up, and I think that was in January where Linares was fighting. And then but he didn't want to wait till the summer. So he's like, I'll just fight this guy, then we can talk about that money again. But some of it was tied to them wanting to sign Mikey for a while, not just one fight or whatever. So that's just silly. Oh, there was that Canelo is back July 4th. I saw people tweeting that. Oh, here's an interesting one by John C. Nash. Really good follow, by the way, on Twitter. Curious if there's an overlap between the boxing people that want Dana White and Zuffa to buy up and consolidate boxing and the people that were really alarmed by Heyman and the PBC were doing a few years ago. I just can't recall everyone's positions. It is funny. A lot of people are like, yeah, man, Eddie Hearn, have Dana White in the UFC and Zuffa buy and the Fertitta brothers buy boxing, buy everybody, and then let Hearn do it. Okay, but weren't you the one saying that when Heyman was doing that a few years back that monopolies aren't good, but it's okay when it's Dana and when it's Eddie? Once again, funny, he just was like, I can't remember who the hell, Oh, by the way, Bob Arum was talking about that we're not going to do weigh-ins, crazy-ass long weigh-ins at the, when they're trying to have weigh-ins in a big, they just don't want the people close, is basically what happened. And the UFC, by the way, didn't follow 100% protocol. UFC coronavirus plan is careful. It's enforced, but it's been really spotty. Someone tweeted that too, and that is true. They did miss on some of those things. All right, I got a couple more. 503 Portland. Do you want to, talk here the last chunk of time? Let me know. I'll give you your window, your normal window. But just let me know if you do. You can text me or whatever. Maybe you're just at work and you're chilling. That's cool too. Just letting you know, because we are getting to that time. Okay, we are getting to that time. I think. Let's see. All right. So he said he's ready in a minute. That's perfect. All right. Let's see what we got here. We got. Dead air is what we got, huh? Oh, this is actually kind of a funny one, totally off base. But Steve Spurrier is known as a college football player, the old ball coach, offensive juggernaut, but he always talks a bunch of shit. Someone sent me this. Peyton Manning came back for his senior year, came back to Tennessee for his senior year because he wanted to be the first 3-time MVP of the Citrus Bowl. Oh, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. Ooh, somebody sent me some shit about Paulie Malignaggi on post. Now, I don't have time to get into it. I'm looking at it, though. We are going to talk about that next week for sure. For sure. There is, I don't know if I read this one before. Someone sent me this, too. This guy really thought that Donaire had something to do with hurting Ryan Barnett's back. Ryan Barnett sustained a back injury during the fight, so Stephen Young was the replacement, as we all know. Alternatively, he caused Burnett the injury. You really think he caused the injury? Would he make him duck or something? Oh, here's one more. This is a doozy. The best matchup for the PBC rivalry is Spence against Figueroa Jr. Most of us would agree that if Spence were to fight Ugas next, it could be detrimental and risky. I have to say that because I would like to see Figueroa Jr. for many, many reasons. It could be the biggest fight so far. That's not Crawford, which I don't believe. Now, for some reason, the Mexican-American stable under PBC had much ideal action to propel their career, which is not true. It's been systematic. Whatever happened to Figueroa when he came off that DeMarco fight? Well, ask Figueroa. Omar was inactive. Yeah, because he was out of shape. He kept getting DUIs and shit like that. The story goes that he was drinking, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so both Omar and Spence are from Texas. This, capital letters, was supposed to be the fight designated before 2018, but it never came because Omar wasn't active enough. Not sure who was to blame. Ask Omar Figueroa who's to blame. He'll blame himself. He said it numerous. I just think Heyman could have done more to build that fight and give Omar more fights. By the way, Omar's sister's got a fat ass, though. That's very true. And she'll probably beat your ass a little bit on it. Both seem to be ready for that. Yeah, because Spence probably still hold the strap. Omar would concede to the lower purse. The playing field is even, in my opinion. This would make a big fight in Texas. Spence was able to handle a Porter assault, but Errol's wear and tear could be compromised, so he's going to fight Figueroa. Okay, 5:03 Portland. Let's get in here. Let's shut this down. What's going on, my man? How the hell are you, buddy? You got to get it to the mic, dude. I can't hear the music. There we go.
Yo, sorry about that. I thought I had it on there, but what up, Chris? Hell yeah, brother. Missed the show. Missed listening to the Robodope Radio. What's up, Chris? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I've been trying my best to putting out an episode a week, but yeah, it's tough after a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, I get you, bro. I mean, what is there to talk about, right? Boxing is 100% on a hold. The positive shit that I've seen, we're looking at as far as early as maybe June 6th as maybe the first card. So I'm looking forward to that. But also, shout out to Nicaragua and shout out to Fox Deportes for holding it down. And when was it? I think, late April? There was a card in Nicaragua. Yeah. It was live. It was post-COVID shit. The celebrities were out. Chocolatito, Mayorga, man. Dude, I love the card. I like the protocol. It was all right to me. There were fans in the audience. They were wearing masks. There were at least 1 feet separated from each other. And it was a good turnout. It was a good turnout just because fans showed up, man. People, you could tell Nicaragua was a fight like a boxing town, man. They showed up, man, and the card was it was okay. It was a bunch of prospects and up and coming local fighters, and to me it was worth it, man, because to me I only watch boxing, shit. So if there's Telemundo boxing, fucking solo boxeo, man, count me in, bro. I'm fucking watching that shit, bro. At this point, man, I'm going back. I've been going back and watching old Trinidad fights, old Mayorga fights, old De La Hoya fights, Marquez, Pacquiao 4, man. It's like, and I'm not gonna lie, dude, but I bought that I bought that last UFC card too. So but I'm putting that out there just because I'm a fight fan too, and you know what I mean. I had to watch something, bro. I mean, if it has to, if it's two people that could go at it and fight each other, sign me up, man. Because at this point, fuck, man, I'm willing to pay for Tyson and what's his name, Holyfield 3 in Saudi Arabia. So you know what I mean.
You got under a minute left.
I'm paying.
You don't got much time left.
All right. As far as that, man, I can't wait for boxing to get back. It sucks that it's in a hold, but there is some hope soon coming up. Eddie Hearn's talking about some backyard barbecue style boxing. Top Rank, Bob Arum talking about making moves soon. De La Hoya, I don't know what the fuck is up with that dude, but I'm sure they'll be running up soon. But as far as that, boxing will never die. It's the oldest fucking sport in this fucking world. It will never die. Even after we're gone, there will be a new civilization, and there will be boxing. And